All right, back in the basement again today. I'm gonna do a week recap from last week, which was my last max effort week of this whole training cycle leading up to a meet in the USAPL on May 1st. I am 34 days out at the time of this video, roughly 5 weeks there. A couple of days behind my normal upload schedule. I like to do these recap videos like almost immediately following my last training session where my thoughts are fresh. But in this case, I think it's good that I had a couple of days between because I've let some of my thoughts marinate. And I went from being kind of a negative outlook on my training week, which I shouldn't have had, to a very positive and upbeat one. So I'm gonna talk about that right now. But right now, just finished my deload workout for the day. And this week I'm looking forward to because my body needs it. My readiness rating on this app has been plummeting as of late because I've really been trying to push myself. And this is kind of normal. As you get towards the end of a training cycle, you know, the last couple of strength blocks, the max effort work right before a peak, the readiness, from what I can tell, typically tends to drop here. So I'm looking forward to kind of getting some of my mojo back this week and not overdoing it like I've been doing it the last couple. So let's talk about all three of my main lifts. So day one, Monday, set of squats, set of 3, RPE 10. I've talked about how I base these numbers and how I pick my RPE 10 sets. I went with 565 in this case because that's a number that would have been a 10-pound PR for me, as well as it lets me load some really cool weights on a power bar. Again, since I'm doing a USAPL meet, I've been trying to use just a power bar for all 3 main lifts instead of a squat bar and deadlift bar. Just stiffy all the time in my hands. Nice to be back. So I wanted to do 565 because that would allow me 545s and a 35 per side. You guys know how I like my 35s. A really, really cool weight, a really cool milestone, and really close to that really elusive 585 of 6 plates a side, which was a goal of mine for many, many years. And in fact, a lot of my wallpapers on my computer or even my ending screen for some of my older videos was 585 pounds loaded on that bar because that was an all-time goal of mine, which I've since surpassed. But if I'm able to get that weight pretty soon for reps, that would be great. And in order to do that, I'm gonna have to hit 565 for some reps because we're working our way up. So loaded up 565, was not really feeling it at first, but one of the things I've really been trying to focus on, which has always been a struggle for me in my lifting career, is the mental aspect. If I feel fatigued physically, as long as I'm able to get myself around it mentally, I'm usually able to overcome. But if I feel great physically and my mental aspect is really fatigued, even a lighter weight could potentially pose some issues for me. So I really tried to talk myself into this lift leading up to it the past couple of days, past couple of weeks. I really have my goals set on certain numbers. And in order to hit those goals, this was a set I'd have to hit. And I'm really happy how it went because I hit 565 for a set of 3, RPE 10, rocking the Scott Hall, Razor Ramon, bad guy shirt. Hey, yo. And it went well. I couldn't be happier with this set. I feel like my depth was where it needed to be. The speed, the tempo was all there. Super, super pumped about this lift. And I gave you the little, that's it, Razor Ramon at the end, just because I don't normally show emotion, but that was a huge lift for me. Super pumped, super good way to start off the week. My next max effort set was on my day 3, which is Thursday, called for deadlifts. And for deadlifts, I really wanted to go for 620. It would be an all-time PR for me. I think my previous double best here is like 615. So just a little bit more past that, but getting into the warm-ups, it just wasn't there. And I couldn't make that mental connection that I needed to. In fact, I did a terrible job of it because I was really putting myself in the gutter about, you know, hey, you should be able to do this. You're being a little punk, you know, you got to do it and you can't do it. And just wasn't there. It didn't happen. So I ended up stopping at 595 for a double, which was rough and tough and not pretty. But in the grand scheme of things, as I stewed about it over this weekend, I got to remember that my last meet back in October, my third pull was like 601 or 606, so something relatively close to that. And again, my training history has been really, really good leading up to it, all training block and all training cycle. And I have to remember looking at my readiness in the app, it's really low right now. And my weight has been going down the past like 2 or 3 weeks. And again, I've been pushing numbers I haven't seen before. So I think it just kind of all caught up to me. And again, I couldn't get over that mental hurdle. So I'm just going to write that off because in the end, 595 for 2 is still an extremely good lift for myself. And I need to be able to kind of take my wins where I can get them, especially considering, again, I hit that 565 for a set of 3 just 2 days prior. So it wasn't the day I wanted necessarily, but the day I needed because, again, that mental acceptance is huge for me. Now, going into day 4, my last day, where day 1 was a win, Day 3 was like, oh, right, that didn't go how I wanted to. Day 4 was like, what the hell is going on? And I say that because, again, top set of 3 on bench. I went with 305 based off of how I was feeling. And I really was just kind of writing the rest of that training day off because I just wanted to get to the weekend, wanted to get to my deload week, kind of rest, recover, and all that. I thought 305 was a safe number, and I did 305, and I rated it for an RPE 10. But part of me also wanted to do some heavier singles because that's the first time I touched over 300, I think, all training cycle. So the past, 12 weeks or so. So I loaded up 315, decided I'm just going to take a couple of singles at 315 to see how it feels, see how it moves. Because bench is something that I don't really build up a lot of fatigue, and I'm benching 4 times per week. It doesn't really impact me too much. I could bench probably every day and still not really have too much issue from it, be able to recover. So 315 I went okay, took it again, went okay again. And I thought to myself, you know what? Let's just see where my strength levels are at, and let's see if I can triple this. So I decided to take 315 for a triple, which I got barely. That third rep was probably the longest rep of my life. It felt like it wasn't moving at all, but it finally did get it up, and I'm very glad that I set the safeties appropriately here. But I ended up hitting 315 for another set of 3 at RPE 10, even though I'd already hit my RPE 10 set, or so I thought, and a couple of singles past that point. So really, really happy with that. Great way to cap out the week. Then spent a busy weekend doing some family stuff, which was good again because I was able to refresh and kind of reflect and think back on some of my thoughts, versus if I did this video on Friday, I probably would have been a lot more negative about it. So overall, super happy with the week. Some huge PRs for me, some good stuff cooking, if you will. And then we're going to go ahead and take this deload this week, which is much necessary. And I'm hoping I get my readiness back up more towards 18 to 20. We'll see how that goes and head into the peak because it's game time about 4 weeks out past this point. So if you have any questions about the training program, let me know in the comment section below. If you want to see some of the other videos that I'm working on, like the ins or knee sleeves, I've been posting that stuff on Instagram. You'll see that eventually on the channel. Hoping during this deload, I'm able to knock out some of these videos that I've been slacking on. But let me know in the comment section below what you'd like to see. And yes, I know you want to see a transformer bar video. But in the meantime, as always, thanks for watching and stay big.